come to a stage where, okay, this is not working out. One of the things that as a designer which I felt when working with advertisements is that firstly there's a huge time constraint that so I first do a lot of research. I see what are the things that are already out there, and I build my own visual library, and or something that you thought is sort of coming out in your head maybe, but it's not coming out to others who are viewing it, right?
What are the tools that you use for this kind of storyboarding?
So storyboarding, usually I use kind of platforms where
This is fantastic. So you have handmade using clay and then you have taken a picture of this and kind of animated it. Is that what you have done?
so a lot of people just do one and then they're happy with it, but I think it
Hey guys, welcome to the Better Engineering and Management podcast. Today we have Swathy Pramod joining us to discuss some of the principles and techniques for motion design. Swathy works as a motion designer and animator at Google Operations Center. Swathy, please welcome to the podcast.
hello.
Swathy, great to have you here. Uh,
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Please tell our viewers, let's start with storyboarding. Can you please share some tips on doing a great storyboarding?
Yeah, sure. So storyboarding is a process where you start, you visualize the concept that you're going to animate, or whatever story or script that is given to you as a designer. It is a stage where you start visualizing it, ideating, and coming up with rough concepts to sort of flesh out how the video is going to look like. And it's usually does not have to be very detailed out, or it's not about how good the storyboard looks in itself. It's usually about the camera angles, or what kind of visuals are coming in, what are the characters coming in, and what sort of shots are there, and what kind of transitions will be used. And mostly the next stage after storyboarding is creating an animatics. So that is also very it's a similar process, but it is where timing also comes into play, where the voiceover and the music and the sound, that also comes into play, where you sort of sync the video with the voiceover that is either already recorded, or you have the timing for each scene and sync it with the music, so that you have an idea of how long the video is going to take once it's done, or like how when each scene is going to change, when there's a new scene that's going to come up, or some sort of sound effects that need to be added in any particular area. So these are sort of things that you finalize at an animatic stage, so that you can reduce rework. Or it's also very good for review purposes if you have stakeholders involved, or people that you need to give approvals and things like that. So it's a very good tool to sort of showcase the blueprint of the video, how it's going to turn out like.
Sure. Thanks, Swati. So basically what you understand is storyboarding is a process where you kind of assembling your ideas, preparing a rough draft, like this is what I'm going to do in the actual video. And probably it's great for also sharing and getting more feedback in the process. And post that, the animatic stage kicks in where you actually start kind of editing the video, syncing it with voiceovers and putting more sound effects and all those things. Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, Swati, tell us, let's say you have to design a story for explainer video, okay? You have done some projects like Violence Against Women, where you have used a very subtle form of storytelling, right? Can you like share how to do a great storytelling, particularly for explainer videos?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I'll share my screen, and I will show the project as well. Okay. So can you see my
Yeah, I can
screen?
see. Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
So this particular project was creating and explainer video for this was done during COVID, and this was for creating an explainer video for violence against women, especially during the pandemic, because women were mostly inside the house like everybody else, but it also increased the violence drastically, and it was this was a campaign created in order to spread awareness on how to ask for help if you are in a situation like that. So this is a very rough sketch that I had, like just of concepts which I had in mind when I read the script, or like ideas that sort of came into my mind which could be visualized, and these are like very rough things that I kind of drew out, and this was one of the concepts that I had in mind. So here, this is a storyboard, but it's sort of not a very detailed one. This is like
Mhm.
just outlining the concept of the visual flow, like how it starts. First you start to see different windows and what happens inside each house, or just a glimpse of how each family looks like from the outside. And then you sort of zoom into the window, and then you start to see that what you see from the outside may not be always true, and inside there might be more um, nitty-gritties involved, and like a lot of things happening within a household, and especially with the women in focus here and a child. And in the next frame I'm showing, like a younger kid, and like the girl running away, and these are all
Mhm.
sort also at the same time. If you see, the frame is also becoming smaller,
Yeah.
so it's sort of showing how it's shrinking, like it's sort of depicting the mental space that a woman is going through. And here it's here you see just an abstract description of the women, and then you see her kind of, it's sort of morphing into a flower, and then the petals sort of fading away, and those petals sort of go into the sky, and then they float away, and other people, mostly other women and other, like community of people, sort of gather them and then put them together, and then the women sort of materializes again. So it's more of a abstract concept, but
Mhm.
it talks about, like how people can help you, like you need to voice out your, if you need help, right? So this was depicted within these 9 frames, and it is easier to make another person understand what it's going to look like if you have a storyboard, because this is not an animated video, but it's a stage where before the video you sort of create a map for the video of sorts. So yeah.
It's very interesting. I mean, so basically, what I understand is like storyboarding is also the process of kind of creating pieces of your story, assembling them, and end-to-end flow
Yeah.
can be described. Like this is what the story is depicting, and also there are a lot of subtleties here, right? In the sense like
Yes.
based on your own imagination, whatever you can create, and you can kind of you have to do the mapping in such a way that few things come out pretty kind of in a subtle manner, and few things are very explicit, right? So can you
Yeah.
share like how did you develop these ideas, like which story you have to take, and do you have any kind of a process, or it's more like intuition?
So I first do a lot of research. I see what are the things that are already out there, and I, build my own visual library, and I sort of see what is something that can be done, which is not explicitly already done, but something that can be a fresh perspective on the existing idea. Like, for example, in this concept, the previous one was one of the concepts, and then this is another concept which I decided to flesh out further. So here, again, you can see that it's like, in the first shot you just see a long shot of the buildings, and like the shadows and stark silhouettes that are used, because that also kind of symbolizes the nature of the story involved. So these are the
Mhm.
things which kind of set the tone for the story and the style that you want to go with. If that is not already predefined, then you have that flexibility, right? So here again, the storyboard is used to sort of zoom in and show that there's a wide shot involved here, or then you move closer in, whether either you zoom in or it's a cut. All of those are also usually you know uh, described in the storyboard stage itself. And then different camera angles of the same thing can also say a lot more. um, Again, so here it's like I've used a photo montage kind of a setting here, which is not exactly like um, a real like a real life thing, but more of an abstract of things happening to her and her face, which sort of depicts her emotional state of being. And then it comes back to reality, and then she sort of folds up the letter that she was writing, and then sort of sends it out in a form to depict that she's asking for help.
Okay.
So yeah, that is something that I had in mind. And again, another concept. So it's just uh I think the more you explore, the more you push your own ideas, you get sort of like come across better concepts. So a lot of people just do one and then they're happy with it. But I think the key is to sort of push how much ever more you can do, because in ideation, I think quantity is definitely something that takes precedence on top of quality, because when you're ideating you need to go in all directions and
Right.
stretch out until you come across an idea which actually might fit. It might be the best fit, right?
Sure.
So yeah.
Interesting. So what I understand is like we should probably start with a research of the topic because we may have an idea about the topic. It's a violence against women. We all have some idea about it, right? But if you do more
Yeah.
research and kind of you see various settings where it happens, and you can kind of try to connect that with your storyboarding process. And also you can have multiple ideas instead of doing just one, so that some of the things may connect with certain people and some other things may kind of come out better. So during the ideation phase, it is better to go into multiple directions essentially. And just out
Yeah.
of curiosity, what are the tools that you use for this kind of storyboarding?
So storyboarding, usually I use sketching kind of platforms where I can easily draw things out. Either I do it on a sketchbook and paper, which is the
Okay.
easiest. And another thing which comes into play when you do storyboarding is if you're working as a team, and if you're not responsible for the entire production of the video, and if it is at different departments that are handling each part of the video, for example, there is a particular pre-production department and a production, then it becomes even more important that you discuss the ideas with the team. Like, that is when a storyboard is helpful, because you can put it out there and people can, in your team, they can come up with other ideas for particular scenes, or something that is working out, something that is not working out for a larger
Sure.
crowd, or something that you thought is sort of coming out in your head maybe, but it's not coming out to others who are viewing it, right? So
Definitely.
that is also important, because that way what happens is that you don't necessarily have to do the entire animation and
Mm.
then come to a stage where, okay, this is not working out. It's already ruled out, right? So you
Sure.
save on a lot of effort.
So basically, collaboration is a key element of the motion design because if there are multiple people working on it, you should kind of put your thoughts like, hey, the idea is going good, but probably this can be done better, or probably the concept that we are thinking is very clear in our heads, but it's not coming out in the video, which is the main idea actually, right, behind the storytelling. Okay, understood. And also you mentioned that if you are designing the video in such a way that there is pre-production and production phase, probably you can kind of discuss with other team members in different phases, like what where they can contribute, what their role can be. Sure. So I was saying, Swati, let's say you're working on an advertisement, okay? Or advertisement for chocolate, or let's say some kind of tools or some kind of appliances, right? In
Right.
that process, right, what are some of the factors that one should keep in mind? Because you've also worked on some advertisements, right? If you can share what process you went through and what are the
Yeah.
differences between the normal storytelling and, let's say,
I
advertisement?
I think for advertisement, it is one of the things that as a designer which I felt when working with advertisements is that firstly there's a huge time constraint that it usually comes with a faster timeline compared to other sectors, but then also it comes with a lot more flexibility where you can be very experimental. You can go all in and um, think out of the box a lot more. I feel there is a lot more freedom there. And I think when it comes to advertisement, it's also the product that takes the forefront. Like, it's a product or the whatever it is that you are running the campaign for. So I think it's usually it depends on the brief, whatever brief is given to you, depending on what product you're working with.
Mhm.
I had worked for a product like Bira, and for one of their like launching of new flavors that they had done, and for their advertisement campaign that they had created. And what I felt during the experience was that. There's a lot of already existing brand guidelines that are given to you, and you have to work around those. But also there's a lot of room for experimentation. Like you can work with concepts, maybe like for example the video that I worked with had lot of like it was a live action video, but it had a lot of animation on the people and on the characters and the products. And it was in a zone where it sort of is a mixed media sort of an place, and it's a lot of fun to work with, I feel. And yeah, that is what my experience with advertisement has been like.
Sure. And any specific software that you recommend for beginners?
Yeah. So for storyboarding, I used to personally work with Krita because Krita is an open source software and it's free, and it is very light. So when you are especially a student, like when I was a student, I used to use Krita because it runs on every laptop specification, and usually animation softwares are very heavy, and like you need a very good system to run them on. Even like Photoshop and After Effects need very good requirements. But Krita is completely opposite. It does run very well on any system, I would say. And now I use Procreate mostly because it's more easier and handy. But as a beginner, you don't really have to. And and for animation, definitely After Effects. That is something that you explore over time and then you get better at, because it's like After Effects is a vast area to explore, I would say, and it doesn't happen like in a year or two. It takes a while until you actually get better at it. So
Okay, so Creator can be used for storyboarding and of course for animation, After Effects. Both After Effects is like I think at the default also most people are using it. And you
yeah.
also mentioned you use Procreate a lot, right?
Yeah, I use that for mostly digital paintings or sketching and ideation and things like that.
That's true. So, Swati, please share some of the tips for changing your game. Let's say you want to go to the advanced levels of animation. Okay, you have done some animation and now you are kind of you want to take projects where more advanced levels of animations are involved. What should one keep in mind for that particular transition?
Um, I think uh, I think it starts with your idea, how you are sort of creating or visualizing your video. Because and I think something that really helped me was studying from like benchmark animation videos out there which are already created and which are like the trendsetters of each year. There are some great work that people put out there. So studying them frame by frame and uh, taking a scene of a particular video and then breaking it down and seeing what is it exactly that the animator has done, or basically like reverse engineering it. And that is something that really helps to understand what sets it apart from what you're working on, right? It sort of helps you get a level higher than what you already know, because the videos that you make will always come from a place of comfort zone. Like things that you're already comfortable working on. So if you have to
Mm.
break out of that space, like for example, something I learned that way was using 3D in After Effects, and you know, that sort of came from a video that I was studying in, and that video had a lot of 3D animations done in After Effects, and I had to break out of my comfort zone to get into that place. So that sort of elevates your work slowly, like if you keep doing that, I feel.
Basically, if you like certain animation, you can kind of go into the details of it frame by frame, like how is this frame constructed, what are the elements used
Yeah.
here, and kind of slowly study it, and also keep in mind all the trend setting videos animation that have came, and probably study them also. And
Yeah.
maybe you can go in the past also, like past animations which have kind of changed the game, right?
Yeah.
What had those animators done? I think you have to understand the creative process here a little bit, and also the elements, right, which they have used. Probably create a library of your own that, okay, this thing looks better in this particular case, and maybe I can reuse it in the future. Okay.
And
So,
I
yeah.
also think collaboration is really helpful. For
Okay.
example, not everybody is comfortable designing their own frames or scenes, and but some people are really good at animating. So, if you can collaborate with a designer or somebody or an illustrator, even that sort of elevates the quality of your video because. Um, Even in bigger production houses, everybody has their own role which they're specialized in, right? But
Sure.
today everybody is comfortable doing all stages of it, but that is also taking away from the quality that you can achieve. So a lot of videos that you see which are out there of a very high level of quality, it's usually done by a big team. So everybody is specialized in what role they're playing, right?
Okay.
So if you have friends or if you have teammates who are good at particular things, then I think leverage that and then combine create something collaboratively, right?
So I think collaboration plays a good role here. Basically, your creative delivery can be boosted if you collaborate with multiple creators and different kind of roles. Obviously, as you mentioned, illustrators and designers and people who are probably also in the on the field, right? Let's say we were discussing about these women, right? If you can certainly listen to their stories all by themselves, probably you get some ideas. So collaboration plays a great role in motion design. So, Swati, like, where can motion designers find inspiration? Like, if someone wants to kind of learn something new, right? What are the places or forums where they can go and kind of get some inspiration and get some new thoughts?
I think there are a lot of works which are already there on Behance and Dribble, and there are also a lot of Slack communities and things like that where you can actually um, see other people's works and see what kind of softwares they're working on.
Mhm.
And there are a lot of motion graphics forums where people put out things that they're doing, even work in progress files, and
Okay.
there are places where you can ask for help as well. Like if you're a beginner, you can obviously share the problems that you're facing, and there are so many people who will actually come to help you out. So,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
So just like software engineers have Stack Overflow, you guys have Behance and what something else also you mentioned, right?
Dribble.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Any recent work that you have done, Swati, which you would like to share with our audience?
Yeah, sure. So I am also a stop motion animator and I really like working with clay.
Okay.
So something that has also helped me overall improve my animation is claymation, I would say. And I'll share something that I worked on that I'm very happy about. So this is something that I had created as a passion project, and it was done just for fun. Uh, so here I had created different scenes and created clay um, figurines and clay sculptures, and then animated it. So
This is fantastic. When you say so you have handmade using clay and then you have taken a picture of this and kind of animated it. Is that what you have done?
yes, I've caught it frame by frame. I've shot it
Okay.
on camera, and then I've
Okay.
edited it and added the sound design. Like
Oh, nice. Okay. This is looking really amazing. I think all the viewers should take note, like, because so you use the term claymation right here.
yes.
Okay.
So this is also a form of animation. What I would say is
Okay.
that, um, you don't have to stick to After Effects. If you're into animation, there are all sorts of animation that you can explore, and
Okay.
ultimately everything, makes your timing and understanding of space and
Right.
everything better. So it's
Okay.
an overall process that kind of
Yeah.
adds in. Even if it's an explainer video that you want to work with, the way
Mm.
you animate each element sort of comes from your experience and practicing on different mediums. And yeah.
Right. Cool. That was really great, Swati. I mean, at this point, I would also like to ask all the viewers, like, what are the portals where they generally go for help? What are the principles and techniques which they use? And have they kind of experimented with things like claymation? And do share your links, your photos, or your videos, whatever you have created in our comments, and we would also look at it. Uh, Also, Swati, thanks for your time. It was a great discussion. I think all the viewers will learn something how how creative process can be used during motion design. What are the things they should take care of, and how collaboration is so important in this process. And as you mentioned, right, the knowledge about space, about the depth, about the 3D, all those things also play a great role in a good motion design delivery. Any last words that you would like to say, and then we can wrap up this discussion.
I would just say don't lose spirit if you feel like you did not succeed in the first go, because
Okay.
it takes years to, you know, get better at animation, and it's not a small journey. So just keep doing, I would say.
That's a great piece of advice, Swati, because things can get frustrating at times, particularly for beginners, and they may feel like they're spending a lot of time and energy, but the output is not coming, right?
Yeah.
So it's only patience. It's a game of patience. The more patient you are, the more depth you kind of develop, and then your deliveries will automatically improve. Thank you, Swati, for that inspirational discussion. And all the viewers, do subscribe. There are many such amazing videos lined up. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much.